3 years later is the Asia record, and you played on the track Asia. It's the only track you played on.
It's the only track
record.
I played on, yeah.
Okay, but that song has really withstood the test of time.
Yeah.
And there's some really unique things about it.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that song.
Well, we discussed this as the fact it's the only song that I can remember of theirs where actually there's only about 1/3 of the song has a vocal on it.
Right.
And all the rest is instrumental, and I felt like when they did this, I'm not sure where it fits in the order of the way they wrote the songs for the album Asia. They gave it the title for some reason.
Right. Yeah.
But I feel like they were going, okay, we want to go beyond where we've been. Mm-hmm. So let's throw some chord combinations together in a song. And some of it seems very haphazard to me. It's like very arbitrary. And let's see what works. Let's see what doesn't work. Let's find the way a certain combination of chords, and let's find a way to tie it together with a lead line or something like that. And I felt like it was almost like an experimental kind of a track for the future. And it's interesting because a lot of people come up, oh man, I love Asia, I love Asia, I love Asia. And it's funny because my wife, when she hears it, she goes, where are the vocals? What happened to the vocals? I said, it's not that kind of a song, honey. I said, it's vocals and it takes off to all these kinds of, so I like the stuff that where they're doing more singing. It's unique in that I feel like it's a transition, and it was kind of like, Omar, we love what you've done, but we're moving on.
Okay.
And I'm fine with it. That's okay with me. And because Victor Feldman is the bomb. And so they went on to do Peg and just so many good, Hey 19, all these great songs. And then, of course, they embarked on the Wendell, the drum machine, and I'm going, okay, here we're going. Now we're going away from, I played on the Nightfly.
Right.
And I thought that was basically a Steely Dan record, yes. Obviously.
Yeah.
But, and that was great. I mean, there's some great stuff on the Nightfly, just unbelievable. But that was kind of like between that and Asia, I think it was casting the die for the next major era for these guys.
Yeah.
It's amazing because I listen to certain radio stations and they play this stuff all the time. And there's a reason for it. There's a reason why it coexists with British tunes and Latin tunes, all the different kinds of things. It fits with it. I did a thing. I did a panel at Middle Tennessee University here, and someone raised their hand. Mr. Omartian, I have a question. Yes, sir. I don't like Steely Dan.
Did you say, what's your question?
I said, yeah, so what's the question? He said, I don't like Steely Dan. I said, okay, it's fine. You don't like Steely Dan. And it's so funny. But it's a kind of a thing where it can be, to me, it can be appreciated even though it's very progressive. That you're going, dude. I mean, and it works. And you go, why? You know, wow. It's like
beautiful.
Yes, it's fantastic. And no, I mean, that's pop music, but it isn't pop music.
Right.
And it's kind of like the way they served it was in the middle of all this other stuff going on. And, you know, it goes to it gets very normal. It gets very normal. And then all of a sudden you got coming out of it. You know, it's kind of like, there's a cool passage, and I loved it because of this one piano thing. It goes like, all that's, you know, kind of squashed.
Now, were those written out voicings?
And then this.
Right.
And I'm going, what the heck is that? Against the E.
Yeah.
And it's those kind of little funky things that where you're going, what is that? You know, and then
I'd like to take a second to talk to you about this channel. This is actually Rick Beato 2. I've had it since the beginning of my main channel, and many of you are not subscribed. As a matter of fact, 87% of the people that watch this channel regularly are not subscribed. So I encourage you to hit the subscribe button on this channel and on my main channel. This will help me get even more of my dream guests and help continue to grow both channels. Thank you. For once and for all, is this one take or two takes? I already asked you this, but
I want to say two. And the reason I want to say two is that we probably played very similar stuff. I think I wouldn't change too much. Nobody would change too much. You'd settle on a part. We probably worked on this for 2 hours before we actually ran tape.
with the rhythm sections, you guys would be sitting in a room. How far apart would you be?
If it was producer's workshop, it was a small room. I would say that we were
Small
very,
this size, would you say?
smaller,
Smaller, okay.
half the size of this room.
Okay.
And so they would baffle Larry's guitar, if I'm not mistaken. It would be baffled in some kind of foam.
Yep.
Chuck would go direct. Gad would be there, and they'd have a big thing over the piano, kind of a, what do you call it? It's like a leather thing or whatever it's called, with the piano closed.
Piano closed.
It would have been closed.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Otherwise, there would have been such bleeding, it would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I have to try to remember if it was Producer's Workshop, because we've been in places with them where the drum was in a booth. Producer's Workshop didn't have a drum booth. So we would have been in the room together.
You could see everybody though.
Oh, yeah, eye contact.
So you're looking at everybody.
I remember I was here and Gad was right there.
Let's move ahead in the song. I want to talk about the drum breaks. That wasn't a typical thing to have a drum solo in the middle of a song, or I guess a drum and sax break, right? And this is anything but typical. What were you thinking when you heard this, or what do you think when you hear this now?
When dude starts playing, you go, "What the heck?" I mean, you're just watching him and you're going.
Had
Yikes.
you worked with him, Steve Gadd, at that point? Or
That was
no?
the first time I worked with him.
Okay.
I worked with him after that. He was coming out from New York. Or
I
was
think
he?
so, yeah.
New York. He was coming
Yeah.
out from New York. That was the first time I worked with him.
And did you have any idea?
Guy.
Oh, great guy.
I love. He was just the coolest dude, man. And I knew that he played on Simon and Garfunkel's, 50 Ways to Lose Your Lover, and that little military thing was just like, whoa. I mean, you could just tell this guy's brilliant. And that was just the precursor to the big one at the end, which was like, whoa. And so it was kind of like, you're used to being around great drummers. They're very seldom asked to exercise this part of them.
Yeah,
they have to always stay
pop
controlled.
record, right?
Yeah, stay controlled and stuff like that. So you don't get really the full gamut of what you're.
Now, would they say to him, "Hey, this is what I want you to just go crazy," or what did they say?
I have no idea, but it wouldn't be very effusive. It'd be like, just do some fills. That would be it. They wouldn't say go crazy.
Okay.
That's not like
now,
that.
Now, would you go back in and listen when you got the final take of this and say...
We say, what the heck? I mean, because at the end, it gets, he just goes.
Okay, all the parts before that section even come in, the bass and the kick drum are so tight.
Well, you know, being a player, that after you've run something with somebody else, you feel the way that they feel something. So everybody's kind of feeling the way everybody adjusts to time. And because of how good you are, it doesn't take very long for you to figure out this is where the guy puts the backbeat, this is where, and a 4/4 bar that's just open.
Yeah.
Everybody's right there.
And you'd already rehearsed the song, so you kind of knew the sections, right?
I would say that we rehearsed for 2 hours.
Okay,
at least,
so would you say you had the song pretty memorized at
yeah,
that point?
because there's time signature changes that just suddenly appear, and those are the kind of things. Your Gold Teeth was the same thing, 3/8, 6/8, back and forth and stuff. At a certain point, you got to get beyond looking at the time signature. You got to get beyond. You got to feel it. It's in you. And at a certain point, it was kind of like everybody kind of knew where the downbeat was going to be and stuff like that. So it was just a matter of getting familiar with each other, and that was part of playing 3 sessions a day or whatever. You just got used to, you were in it.
So you talked about the solo later on that he plays.
Yep. I had to go back, and I literally had to go back a few times and get the.
Okay.
I'm going. Because he's right here, and I'm watching his arms just flying all over the place, And Carlton is just like this, and we're just like, what the heck? I mean, he didn't show off like that on the run-throughs.
Okay.
He didn't show off like that. No.
So it was completely unexpected.
Well, it wasn't totally unexpected, but where he went was like, whoa, that the rolls between the bass drum.
Yes.
Man, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
It was pretty incredible. And you notice which is interesting, and one of the things that I always liked about Fagan is that you noticed how much of the piano melody goes with his
Yes.
high on a hill. I'm playing there.
Yes.
Da, 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 da.
Yes.
Da, 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 da. And then, he likes that thing going along with his vocal with support.
Yeah.
I think part of it too is that I wouldn't consider him to be, he's kind of a stylist.
Stylist. Yes. Yeah.
So I think you make accommodations for the way you write when you don't have that incredible voice. So you do certain things. And I think that's part of why this works so well too, because of his limitations.
Right. That the piano was really supportive for his singing.
And I think, to me, the way I always look at stuff, it's the limitations that make the artist. It's not the capabilities. It's just the little limitations that they're operating at the absolute edge, and it's just very cool.